Hello and welcome back to Clubhouse Boxing. A slightly different episode for you today. We're at the press conference for Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder. We've actually spoken to Deontay Wilder himself this afternoon. But first of all, what did you make of what went on stage today?
Well, listen, it's very difficult because we both know what those guys are going to leave in the ring come April the 4th, and that is for sure. You know, they recognise where they're at in their careers, both their 50th fights, and, you know, I think for the loser, where do they go? You know, what is it? It's retirement. And for the winner, there's a, you know, there's a big catch at the end of that. That's possibly Deontay Wilder. So a lot on the line here. I think both guys know that. We didn't really see too much. They were very respectful for each other. But what caught my eye, Charlotte, was when they first come together at the end of the press conference and they looked into each other's eyes and you saw the fight face was on. So, look, as this fight builds up, expect them to get into the fight zone. And, you know, when the reality's kicking in, we'll see. I'm sure this will be spiced up nicely.
Well, they've been really cordial in the build-up to all of this. Deontay Wilder especially hasn't given much away until he spoke with us earlier, where we actually saw the real Deontay Wilder, and he told us exactly what's going to happen on fight night. Yeah. Deontay, look, we've just had the press conference there. You keep talking about when that switch is going to flip. You've been in with Derek for the last couple of days. You've been in and around him. At what point does it actually flip? When are we going to see that narrative change between the two of you?
Well, this already has, well, I wouldn't say it has begun because we may do a sauna tonight with each other. But once I leave this country, that's it. You know, I've told him before I came here, that we had to cut off, and we did. You know, I said the next time you'll see me in the press conference, and which this is the next time. He saw me in New York, and he see me here. And then the next time after this, you're going to see me in the ring. But once I leave this country, there's no need for us to talk anymore. It flips off. The switch is flipped on after that. When we go into training, it will flip on then. So when I see him the next time here in London, it will be a different situation. You may need security in the press conferences. You know.
You know what, Deontay? He's had a hard day already today. Clifton's had a hard day.
I'm all with friends, man. We are, but we got to give the people what they want to see. You know, people. You know, money is hard to come by these days, and if you're going to spend your hard-earned money on me, I want to give you the best of me. You know, and Derek feels the same way. You know, we're two guys that's unpredictable. I love being unpredictable, you know, because with the two guys of our energy, we can tear this motherfucker up. You would need police in here, you know, so.
I think we'll know what's going to happen once that bell rings. We've watched on the line, both of those win your 50th fight, and we know that the losers are getting tough road back, and the winners are just huge opportunities. You know that you the characters of both you guys, you will leave it all in the ring. And like you say, it's all been a little bit lovely between you two, because you have that utmost respect. The first time I actually see something where I go, yeah, now I see it, is when you come face to face down there for the first time. When you've done the head-to-head after the press conference, you can go, boom, a little bit of the fight face come on. I think as we get closer, we're going to see more of that.
Oh, most definitely. You're right on. You hit it right on. You know, I looked into his eyes, and I wanted him to know that I'm serious. I'm very serious. I'm on a mission. Derek is looking at, this is his last fight, but I'm looking at, I have more to go. We got two different mindsets, but we on the same mission because this is his last final fight, and he want to go out with a bang, a victory. You know, what better way to go out with a win on your platform or your resume, and to retire? Like, you know, that last win, nobody wants to lose in their retirement days. And here I am looking to gain titles, looking to do more great things to bring the heavyweight division back. So I got to be serious. I have to cut off. I have to do what I have to do. We have to do what we have to do as fighters.
You said on stage, which I thought was quite interesting, that you almost have to be a bit psychotic to want to, in your words, kill your friend. What is it like putting yourself into that mindset, and how much of a dark place do you have to put yourself into to feel like that about a friend?
Well, you know, when you come from the trenches of things and you see so much, it's easy to get in that situation. I'm a seasoned professional, you know, so I've been in that mindset many times. I know how to switch it on and switch it off. It's easy to me, you know what I'm saying? I'll fight my real brother if I have to, you know, but at the end of the day, it brings you closer. It brings you closer to that person because you released energy, he's released energy, and we're doing it for a purpose and a reason, you know, who's the best. And that's it. And unfortunately, we talk about the kill part because in reality, that's what boxing does. It's a brutal business.
The ultimate gladiatorial sport for sure. And I think that there's only you two that are ever going to share that moment. And I think that's what brings you close together.
Most definitely.
You know, because there's only you two in that lifetime that have shared that moment. And one thing we can guarantee is that you both are going to leave it in there. You know, it's interesting you'd been talking about, or Derek been talking about this being his last fight, but you saying it's more about testing your own character and rediscovering yourself because you know, mentally you feel like you're in a different place that you was, you know, to say 2 or 3 fights ago.
Most definitely. And that's why I need him more than he need me. I need everything about him. I need what he brings to the table, the pressure, you know, the hitting you, everything. He don't care where he hits you. He can hit me in the nuts. He ain't gonna care. You know what I mean? And I need that because, like I said, pressure busts pipes, but also pressure create diamond. And I'm looking to be the diamond at the end of this when it's all over and said and done. And what better place to come? You know, where the most exciting fans live, you know, where the most exciting fans are here in England, you know, and then at the, you know, historic O2 Arena. So it makes perfect sense. The whole full circle of me and Derek Chisora, the whole thing about how we supposed to fought a decade ago in December, and then here come February, and here come now.
It's been brewing.
This 50th fight. I didn't even know it was my 50th fight. I don't keep up with those things. Shelly had to tell me, you know that's your 50th. I'm like, really? So, man, that just lets you know God has a sense of humor. He's so beautiful. And this is going to be a beautiful event while it's going on and even after it plays out.
I mean, this come out of the blue because we know you were in strong talks with Alexander Usyk. That fight looked like it was going to be next for you. It's now possibly the fight after this one. All goes well on the 4th of April.
Most definitely.
You know, is that still the dream for you to fight Usyk next after this?
Most definitely. It's my dream. I hope it's still his dream. You know, and I think so. I think he's a man of his word. I know he have a lot of people to try to persuade him to go other ways. And like, you don't need this, although he don't need it. But at the end of the day, I understand him because I am one of the best in their eras, and he want to complete himself and go out in a retirement is fighting to hold the best in the era. And it makes perfect sense. You know, the only reason people will persuade him to go other way is because they're fearful of what can happen. Because I have the power to do so. I have the power to knock any man out with one punch.
Well, April the 4th, I believe that we get that knockout, and we will be victorious.
He's even wearing
Most
it. Better with age.
Hey,
age to perfection.
come on
Is this
now.
the perfect
Yes,
Deontay
indeed.
Wilder we're going to see on April 4th?
Definitely. You better be there.
I will be there.
Oh, we will. We will not miss it.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Bless
Thank
you.
you, mate.
Bring it to me. Always good to see you.
Yeah, no, Whitt, Simon's not coming.
Stay at home, Simon. I'm mad at you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Bless you.
Yeah,
We
bless
might
you,
have to
man.
have a
Thank
cup
you.
of tea and talk it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't keep.
Well, no, listen.
Because I don't keep grudges with people. You know what I mean? Life's is too short, and as we see how the world is, you know, it's just a situation where it's like the world. The world is at a war because we don't understand each other. And if we had that understanding, maybe our problems could be resolved. You know, I know he don't understand what it is to be in my shoes, a thing.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't understand what it feel like to be in him. You know, I can understand what it feel like to be rich and have the privilege of having money and being able to buy things, but he can never understand what it is to walk in my shoes or what my people had to endure, and still to this day.
So we just heard from Deontay Wilder there. Pretty spicy ending to that, going back at Simon Jordan after that chaotic interview at TalkSport. Obviously, you were there and saw it all unfold live. What actually happened in that studio today?
But do you see what I'm saying about Deontay Wilder? You've only got to flick the switch. You know, like you've only got to, poke the bear. And I think that's what Simon Jordan done in our interview on Talk Boxing earlier on. You know, it was there, myself, Simon Jordan, Derek Chisora, and Simon and Deontay Wilder. And Simon just kept going on about Tyson Fury. So I don't want to talk about Tyson Fury. You could see straight away he flicked the switch. He went into fight mode. Simon then actually I do want to speak about Tyson Fury. Then he just lost it. He just lost it. He just went wild. So what I did see there, though, Charlotte, was that you go like, where has the bronze bomber been? Where has that guy been? Is he dead and buried? Will we never see him again? And for the first time, I saw a guy there where I thought, okay, he recognises what it is, where he is. You know, he's been through that betrayal in his life that he keeps talking about, you know, the people that are around him, and he's had to rediscover himself, rebuild himself. And I think I've seen a little bit of that this week. I saw it here in the press conference a little bit towards the end of the press conference. But again, with Simon Jordan, I definitely saw that earlier on. That was wild.
I feel like it needs a bit of spice now. It needs to heat up. But talking about that stuff that Deontay Wilder went through outside of the ring, if you actually check out Clubhouse Boxing, you'll be able to see our episode with Deontay Wilder out in Dubai, where he opens up exclusively with us about that. Make sure you check that one out. Derek Chisora as well, he's been quiet in the build up to this. He even joked on stage earlier, they're too old for the drama. They don't want the drama anymore, but we want to see a bit more of it, don't we?
Of course we do, but, you know, like they're saying, you know, they're not in their 20s anymore. They're not in their 30s anymore. These guys have hit their 40s now. You know, they've got kids. The kids are starting to grow up, so they want to be a little bit more respectful, you know, give off a good energy to the younger generation that are coming through, you know, and I think that is important to them at this stage of their lives. But like I say, you know, You can't change the character of the fighter and the character of the person. Yeah, they've mellowed as they've got older, but when the reality kicks in, they do that ring walk. You know what you're getting when they leave it in the ring. But we just want a little bit of that spice now, and I think that we will get that for sure. But yeah, Derek Chisora, did you ever think that you would see Derek Chisora being as mellow as he has been today? It's
saving it all for fight
yeah,
night.
Absolutely.
Talking of their age, we actually spoke to Frank Warren earlier this evening to discuss their retirement plans and whether Derek is actually going to walk away after his 50th fight. Frank, you told me it was going to happen. You said that it was going to be Misfits in Queensbury promoting Derek Chisora and Deontay Wilder. How good is it that it's finally announced and it's finally on?
It is. It's quite an interesting moment. You know, both of them, 49 fights apiece. It's their 50th fight. They're at the stage of their career where, you know, they're in the twilights of their careers. I'm not being disrespectful in saying that. You know, they're guys who've been around the block. They know the business backwards. And for me, this is a fight which is all about what they've got left. And what I mean by what they've got left, their styles have changed. You know, as you get older, you don't move as well. And I speak from experience. But, you know, you look at them and you think to yourself, they're going to slow up a bit. So, and you look at their styles. As soon as that first bell goes, centre of the ring. And I really do think it'll be a shootout. Both can punch. Deontay's statistically the highest punching heavyweight ever. And you know it's going to be, for me, it's a fight that definitely won't go the distance. I think it will be over quite quickly, and I think it'll be exciting while it lasts.
Yeah, I think we can guarantee that we won't see the 12th round with this one. We know that Derek Chisora's tactics are, he's made that quite clear, that he's going to go out there from the opening bell, and we know that he gets aggressive and stronger as it goes on. It's interesting, Deontay said that he chose Derek because he needs to test himself and see exactly what he's got left, because Frank, if we rewind 3 years, this fight, you'd have thought it was a suicide mission for Derek Chisora if we even mentioned this. Fast forward now 3 years to our modern time, and actually Derek Chisora may even possibly start favourite going on recent form.
Well, he's on a purple patch, and he's got 13 losses on his record, but he's always been a competitor, a great competitor. You look at Deontay, I think he's lost 4 out of his last 5, but 3 of those fights were against Tyson, and he put Tyson on the floor 5 or 6 times in those 3 fights. And the last fight he had with Tyson was probably one of the most exciting heavyweight fights I'd seen. And he lost against Zhang, but then he went off doing his ayahuasca stuff and all that nonsense and whatever. He's had a lot of personal problems, but according to Shelley Finkel, all that personal stuff's all behind him, and he's in a good place. And he's going to have to be, because the loser is done. This is not one where you can come back. At that level, you are done at that age. It'll be all over. So, that is it. Their career it's a win or your career's over. And I just, you're right what you're saying about who would be favourite or not. I think it's a really difficult fight. I can make a case for both of them.
Clubhouse Boxing is powered by our friends at Betway. For exclusive acquisition offers, free bets, and much more, download the Betway app now.
But we'll see. The thing is, the reason he's picked Derek, because Derek walks forward. Derek don't back off, is he? He's not going to. He don't get behind the jab and back. He jumps on you and he wears you down. And Deontay, you know, you've seen him where he can be losing a fight, and he suddenly pull one of those bombs out and blast you out. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Do you think he still has that, though? I know we spoke there about the fact that it was the mental side outside of the ring. He's also parted ways with Malik Scott as well, his trainer that looked after him for the last few years. But do you think that right hand is back? Do you think physically he's going to be able to pull out the old Deontay Wilder?
I think with punches, you either punch or you don't punch, and I think the puncher's there. And he's not like when you look at him, he's not like some big muscly bound guy. He's very loose limbed, and he get that power comes right from the ground, right from where he plants his feet, and that's where he's at. But it's what's the whiskers going to be like? Because that for both of them, they've both been stopped, so it's going to be exciting. It will be an exciting fight.
You said as well about retirement that whoever loses this does retire. Obviously, Derek Chisora has said that he's retiring regardless, and he actually spoke to me yesterday a little bit about it, saying that he's in therapy at the moment to deal with the thought of retiring because it's weighing on him. Do you think he will retire though? Because there's that narrative that everyone says that Derek just isn't going to walk away. Is it definitely his last fight?
If he wins, I don't see him retiring. He said last fight was he going to retire. You know, I don't see him retiring. Who knows? But I mean, look, at the end of the day, no one's forcing him to fight, and it's also how you win. It's how you win, how you look, and where you know, and what fights are available. You know, for fighting Usyk's having a fight against an MMA fighter, and then he's got to fight Ajit Caballo or vacate the title. Then I'm not sure if the IBF's even the next one in, but whatever happens, that's down the road. And is he going to sit around waiting for that? Or what you've got to do to keep your position, you have to keep active. So that's if he comes through. So it'd be interesting to see what happens.
It's a crazy time for both of these. As you say, Frank, the winner, you know, he goes on and there's a huge opportunity. He's in that title picture, and that is the reality of it, you know. And that's how crazy this game is, that you're one win away and one loss away from your career ending. And the reality is the loser doesn't box anyway. And the jeopardy, and that's the excitement about this. Now, when both guys know that, both guys have got it on the line, they know what they're going into. He's got Derek because he wants to test himself, and he goes, I need someone to pull the best out of me. And Derek, equally, is at that stage.
He is, and look, they're both going to be at their best. The thing is their best good enough now? That's it.
Well, only time will tell, but thank you so much, Frank, for your time.
Pleasure, young man.
Well, yeah, there you go then. Frank Warren says that Derek won't walk away after his 50th fight. And I'm sort of in agreement with him, if I'm totally honest. I go, because, look, I've said this to Derek. He says, listen, Spence, you know what it is. You know us personally, and you know my wife will absolutely kill me. And, you know, she'll kick me out. She'll leave if I go on after this 50th fight. And I go, well, guess what, Derek? You go and knock Deontay Wilder out. All of a sudden, you're in that position. You get the phone call. Alexander Usyk's looking for that opponent. But guess what? You're fighting for all the belts. This is your dream. This is what you always wanted. And you wanted another shot at Usyk. The guy that's possibly give Usyk his hardest fight ever anyway. Are you going to refuse that? Yeah, I'm going to refuse that. And I'm like, yeah, right. And Frank feels the same.
Yeah, I have to say, I didn't believe it until I spoke to him yesterday. He came into our offices yesterday and we had a good chat about it. And he does seem at peace. He actually spoke to me about the fact that he is going to therapy at the moment to try and deal with the fact that he's going to be retiring. He said that it's something that's really weighing on him and he's struggling with his identity post-boxing. You know, we saw him cry when he walked in at Manchester for his last fight because he thought that was the last time he was going to be in the UK. So I think his head wants him to retire, but his heart's still in it, and I think that that's going to be a tough battle for him to overcome.
Absolutely. I think that, listen, when a boxer retires, he loses that identity and he has to fit into life as a normal civilian, and that is a difficult thing for some fighters to do because they have to find some sort of discipline, some focus, some direction in life. Maybe Derek Chisora's just not there yet. I know that he's one of those guys that's going to really struggle with retirement.
Yeah. Well, look, this show is also being co-promoted by Misfits Pro. What a launch that they're having with Derek Chisora and Deontay Wilder. You actually caught up with Kalle Sauerland earlier, didn't you?
I did catch up with Kalle, and listen to what he had to say. Do we say Derek Chisora, Deontay Wilder, Derek Chisora?
In the UK, big point in the negotiations in the UK today for the press conference here. It is Chisora Wilder. In the US on Monday, when they had the Times Square media event, that was Wilder Chisora.
All right, so look.
Do not make a mistake. I've got caught out. I posted the wrong one. So,
Listen.
Derek was not best pleased. I've got to be very careful.
At this stage, genuine 50-50. What name goes first? Who knows it? Whereabouts in the world? That's where you are. Both their 50th fights. A lot of comparisons here going into this one. Now, we mentioned this, Kalle, 3 years ago. You'd have thought he was absolutely nuts putting this fight on, but now all of a sudden, it's probably fair to say Derek Chisora starts favourite.
Spence, I'm dreading someone, and I shouldn't be saying this because someone will probably pull it out now. I know there's interviews of me out there 3 years ago when they were talking about this fight, and I said, no, that's a step too far, mate. That's a step too far. Might have been 4 years ago, to be fair, but it was out there. This fight was out there. I was like, what? I said, you're nuts, right? Yeah. But hey ho, it's heavyweight boxing, right? Careers change. Like Derek's trajectory since I released him about 7 years ago must be son about my aftershave at the time, because since he left me, it's just gone like that. You know, he teamed up with David A. Right? I remember because I think we had a fight left. We released him, so wished him well. We had a good time. You know, we did the Daly and Whitt fight. We did Kubrat Pulev over in Germany. We had fun. We had a lot of fun together. But it was like, okay, good luck. You know, this is the last try with David. And then since then, he's just gone like from strength to strength. You know, and it was like the weirdest couple you could imagine getting together. It was just like, nah, that don't work. And I promoted David A, and it was like, but David must have done wonders for him, because he suddenly, we all knew what Derek's never changed the way he fights, but the engine has totally changed.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because I remember after the second Joseph Parker fight, I texted Derek and said, you know what, mate? Everyone comes to an end, and I think your time is now. I said, you put on a great career. I said, you showed the heart of a lion. I don't know how many. You're going to go down as, you know, one of the best that Britain's produced and all that. We love you, but I think now is the time. Yeah. He said to me, did you enjoy the fight? I said, I loved the fight. He said, were you entertained? I said, I was entertained. He went, well, there's your answer. Yeah. I'm continuing. And from then, the guy's not looked back.
That's how he talks.
Yeah.
Derek isn't really about winning or losing. It's about, were you entertained?
Yeah.
Right? But I'll be honest, back in the day, Derek often didn't entertain, because when he was flat, he was flat. And that seems to have gone. And I've got to give big props to David A, because that was a turning point. There was a lot of fights. I think it was when he fought, was it Caballero? It was just like, and it was in Monaco, wasn't it? It was like a dead atmosphere, so it was quite, can get flat fights. But it was often where Derek was quite fit, but he didn't really step on it. And since then, even the Usyk fight and stuff, you know, he just seems to have found that extra gear.
Best form of his career right now at 40 years of age. Deontay Wilder equally at that stage, but maybe in the worst form of his career, and there's so much intrigue around this. We had him in the TalkSPORTS building earlier, and boy, did that kick off.
I heard.
That kicked off as well.
You've got to give me some details.
I'm going to give you some details on that one, but you know, I'm glad that Deontay's now calmed down. Let's get into the fight itself. Yeah. You know, like we talked about it there, you know, like.
But let's be honest, like we like to analyse fights. I love to play boxing, sort of fantasy, manage how's this going to play out. But this one, I mean, it's pretty obvious what Derek's going to do, because he's not going to change his strategy in the 50th fight. He's going to come and put it on him, in his face, bring war, right? And then the other fellas, the hardest punching heavyweight of all time, as confirmed by the Ring magazine recently. So that's not Kalle saying it. Well, he's going to obviously try and bang him out. So it's like, you know, you're not going to get that caginess, because Derek's going to be in his face within 3 seconds of the bell going. And a lot of people say, oh, it's going to be a knockout. I don't think so. I think even if he catches him, I see Derek getting up. I see Derek putting it on him. We've seen he's got difficulties. Zhang's another one. He puts it on you. Yeah, he's also a big lump. Yeah, didn't go well for him, did it?
No,
no,
that's right.
I'm sure he's looked at that. I'm sure he's improved 100%. He's a clever fighter. He knows his boxing, but good boxing IQ. But he don't like people putting it on him. So it's not going to suit him. He's not going to get the space to get the big shot off. He needs that space to not wind it up. But he's a very tall fella. So Derek's not going to give him that space. So it's like, how does he work off that? Now let's go back to the Fury fights, and they were all completely different fights. You know, the first one, you know, was Wilder's arguably the best one of the three. The second one, well, Tyson changed the tactics totally. He's put it on him. Went very badly for Deontay, you know, very badly that night. And in the third one, he sort of learned from that, but Tyson changed again. He's a very good thinking boxer, Deontay, but he's gonna be relying on that down the pipe, yeah.
Well, the $1 million question is: can Deontay rediscover the bronze bomber? Since ayahuasca, you know, you looked at that and where he went and what stage he got into, become that mellow character, didn't suit him. We saw that in recent performances, like you say, Joseph Parker, last time against Yale Zhang, he looked a shell of his former self, and a lot of us have said, we're all guilty of saying, look, he looks like a shot false. And I think Kalle now, you know, the way that he's talking, the way that he was in the studio today, you go, if that bronze bomber can be rediscovered, it's an interesting fight, and I think that's what makes this one so fascinating.
It is, and throw into that, the fact that Derek, he really wants this fight for a reason, and it's not now. It's just not now. He's been on about this fight for 5-6 years. He's had every person in the heavyweight division of any name, right? With the exception of AJ, who manages him, right? So it's like, he's fought everyone, absolutely everyone. But this name, he's wanted for well over 5 years. He's wanted this fight. And I think that Derek knows, but he's how mad Derek is. He might not even think that it's because he can beat him. He just thinks, it's going to be an entertaining fight. And that's the part, that one thing I'm sure is it's going to be entertaining. My heart, of course, wants Derek. My head's telling me it's 50-50 because I just don't know. I don't know what version of Derek turns up, and I don't know what version of Deontay turns up.
Yeah, so like Kalle's spot on, really. Look, we know what these guys are going to do. We know what they're going to leave in the ring. It's a fight that has been materialising for some years now. And, you know, Kalle says, look, don't worry about that. It's going to spice up at some point. You know, you might see these nice, placid, smooth guys now, but when that bell rings and they know what's on the line, we expect fireworks. So he's right.
Well, look, not long to go until fight night. You'll have to tune in and watch it. We'll obviously be there bringing you all the behind the scenes. So make sure you like and subscribe to our channel.